welcome everyone into the webinar. We're very excited to have you here and to be presenting. Mark is going to be presenting. I'm going to introduce a little bit about myself, a little bit about Mark, tell you a brief little bit about why you should stay on the call till the end. So we'll just jump in here. So right now, this is me. I'm Jamie Skolteti. My company is upscaleyourbusiness.com. And I specialize in helping professional coaches and consultants to systematize their business, maximize visibility, and attract ideal clients. Let me see if I move my slide. That's not taking on here for some. Why does it not do that? Okay, let me just
click up. Yeah.
Let me stop the share and then I'll do. I don't know why it does that. Okay.
We could see the different slides. I could see the different ones.
Okay. Well, let's see.
It wasn't working as a slideshow, by the way.
Yeah, it's odd. Okay. And this is Mark Kanty. His company is releasedynamics.com, and he specializes in helping entrepreneurs make sense of what the internet can do for their business, establish an online presence, and gain more traffic, leads, and sales. And he has certainly done that for me and for many of the clients that I work with as well. I'm going to do a stop share real quick here, and I'll move on to the next slide. And so we'll come back in here. I'm going to have to figure that out for next time. And so I want you to stay on the call till the end. There's so much value to get here, but we're also offering a free membership into our Upscale Success Strategies. It's an exclusive membership program. By being on the call with us here today, or if you're watching the replay, you will have access to our free monthly membership. And this is still running on a limited time basis, but you'll be able to gain access to past and future webinars, monthly live implementation call, bonus resources such as worksheets, guidebooks, and some valuable free services. So do stay until the end of the presentation and we'll share with you exactly how you can join us. So with that, I will stop the share and I will introduce you to our presenter, Mark Kanty, and really excited. I always love jumping on these webinars because I learn right along with our participants. So I'm going to turn it right over to you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you. And let me just share my screen now and we'll dive right in. So this is going to look a little weird for a minute.
Yep.
But I'll change this very quickly. There. Okay. So let me go ahead and get started here. And then I know we have Kelsey on the line. So Kelsey, you're going to get a little bit of personal treatment here, but going to call you out. But I want you to know that timing wise, if you are, regardless of your timing, if you need to leave early or if you're able to hang around a little later, then we can certainly debrief and talk about things in terms of how the presentation went and ideas there that you might have gotten from it. And of course, always at the end, we have a Q&A for anyone who is wanting to hang around and ask a few questions. So let's dive in, shall we?
Yeah, and also just make sure you're putting any questions, comments into the chat because we like the interactivity. So please be sure to do that. And I'll pose questions to Mark at the end. So work throughout.
Yeah, and somebody's saying they're getting an echo. Oh, clear. Okay, clear now. Okay, good. I just saw a comment there. And I'm sorry, that echo might be related to me switching screens. So now I can't see. So that's why Jamie and I do these as a partnership, because now Jamie can see comments and things like that and throw them my way. And it's just one of those kind of funky things with, I guess I could have a separate screen, but too much to manage. It's easier this way. So can everyone see my slides? See three good looking people there?
Yes.
Yes.
I can. Yep.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that feedback. So last month we talked about what you need to be doing now to make 2019 your best year ever. And we got some great feedback from that. As a matter of fact, I meant to put that on a slide and I forgot to. I wanted to share that feedback, but next time, I guess we'll do that. But got some awesome feedback from that. And this is a continuation. This is a part 2. Obviously, fitting in everything you need to do in terms of your annual planning and getting ready to launch into next year is pretty hard to compress into 1 hour. In fact, it's pretty hard to compress into 2 hours. Try to give you as much information as we can and as much workable information so you can take this away and go for it and really get this going. But know that there's a lot here, and taking it, a bite at a time, as they say, how to eat an elephant, and just to work through these ideas. So the premise, and I'm going to do a little bit of review here, is that what we're talking about really here is strategic marketing. And to me, the ultimate focus of strategic marketing for any business, and particularly a coaching and consulting business, is to allow you to focus on what you do best. Peter Drucker, a famous management guru, there's a quote attributed to him, which is, "Do what you do best and outsource the rest." Now, Peter Drucker was around for decades, much longer than the internet's been around. And what really the meaning behind that is that if you can focus on doing what you do best, and then find people with strengths to surround you to do the other things that your business requires, you're going to achieve, one, ultimate success with your business, and two, an ultimate sense of satisfaction and pleasure from your business. So that's important. And that's really an underlying thing that you'll hear me come back to again and again, is that idea of get focused, do less, not more. So let's continue on with our quick review here. So you heard me the last webinar talk about this reality check, that here's what's real. No matter how much you don't like to hear this, and how much you like to think that everything that's happening is external to you and is happening to you and to your business, the reality is your business is perfectly designed to achieve the results that you are currently getting. And if you aren't getting what you want, then you need to stop pretending that it's out there. You need to stop pretending that there's some magic bullet, some super tactic that you're going to put into place, that you're going to buy, and that your business is just going to miraculously transform and change. Because the reality is, it's not. And what you need to be doing is looking at the answer. And the answer is, you simply haven't designed your business to get what you want. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's one way and only one way, and that you just do it and it's done, because it's a dynamic process. Obviously, so is what you want. It's constantly changing and evolving. The key is checking back and looking for that alignment. So let's continue on here with what you can do and what you need to be doing to bring that into alignment. So a lot of people, maybe opt out, or they stop listening, or they choose to say, I don't like this webinar. I'm not going to listen anymore, because I'm not going to give you the magic checklist. What I'm talking about is getting you to think and do the work yourself, because only you doing the work will get you to where you want to be. So before anything else, you need to be really, really clear on what you want. What do you want from your life? What's this going to do for you? And if you think about it from that perspective, then once you know what you want, then you can move forward, and only then can you move forward and actually design a business that works for you. So once you know that, then you can start to get really, really clear on elements of your business. So this is where the thinking comes in, and the work. So what exactly do you want from your business? Ask yourself that question. What exactly do I want from my business? What does success mean to you specifically? Not to anybody else, not to the world, not to somebody looking at you, not to a friend or a family member. What does it mean to you to be successful? Because the ultimate measure of success is you getting what you want from your business. What is the absolute minimum necessary I need to do to achieve that? So this is another thing that you may think sounds counterintuitive. People think that, I've got to be complex. I've got to put more. I've got to build more. I've got to have all the secret sauce that nobody's ever heard of in order to be successful. Well, the reality is the opposite of that is true. And there are models for this and examples of this the world throughout. Does Apple Computer make pizzas? No. Do they make televisions? No. Do they make stereos? No. Think of all the peripherals, all the things that you buy to even go with your Mac or your Apple products that aren't even made by Apple, because Apple is very focused on what they do. So you need to describe your ideal business model, and one that's perfectly designed to help you achieve your goal, and your goal being getting exactly what you want from your business. Of course, the third step is, what is the fastest and easiest path to get that done? So take this plan and then compare it to what your current workload is, and start to trim, like Drucker says. Start to, one, find out, what are you doing that you shouldn't even be doing? What can you remove from the list that's not even necessary? Second, what can you outsource? What can you get other people to do so that you can focus on what you do best? Where are you spending time where you're not leveraging yourself, where you're doing low productivity, here's a good example. Let's say you find something, let's take a brick and mortar business, and somebody is running a business and they have decided they're going to be their own janitor. So they sweep the floors and they clean the toilets and they do all these things after work. Why on earth would they waste their time and energy doing that when they have a business where their business should be generating $1,000 an hour when it's open? It just doesn't make sense to spend money, or time is money, to spend time on low leverage activities like that. So again, let's get back to reviewing here. So you're getting clarity on what you want and the simplest and fastest way to get it. We talked about some of the destructive behaviors, and also we talked about the mindset that some people have. So a lot of people think, I get on this path, this road to success, and zoom, it's the major freeway. But the reality is over to the right. Okay. What successful people and business people really know is that it's a constant effort, and that there's constant detours and there's constant roadblocks, and that we have to overcome those in order to make it through, in order to stay on the path, and not to get distracted, not to get pulled off on tangents in the wrong direction. And sorry, my phone is buzzing at me here, driving me crazy. Glad I turned the volume off. So indecision is one of the most destructive things that you can have for your business, not deciding, being stuck at that crossroads. Supportive behavior on the other side of that is becoming decisive, becoming an action machine, and adjusting as you go. So committing to always moving your business forward and investing in your business by moving it forward instead of being indecisive. One of the other destructive behaviors that we talked about was needing to know it all. And the counter to that is know just enough. It's not that you don't need to know things, but you just need to know enough. So master only those things that your business needs from you. And what are those things? Well, things that are critical to you, your unique factor, what you do best. That's something that you need to know enough about, that you need to be a specialist and an expert at. The other part of that is things that are critical to running a business, to running any business for that matter. So you need to have some core concepts around business principles and business knowledge. So many people, if you've read Michael Gerber's E-Myth, so many people go into business as a technician and they remain there because they think they know the technical skill related to an industry or a niche or a business, but they don't know the skills involved in running a business. And running a business, not operating and holding hats and operating every function of the business, but running the business. In other words, being the commander in chief, the CEO. The last destructive behavior we talked about was the DIY trap. So getting caught in this, if I'm always doing things myself, DIY, like the business owner who's also the janitor, how are you ever going to get out of that trap? How are you ever going to escape from that so that you can focus on what you do best? So the key is keeping it really simple. Complex does not mean better. So the only way you're going to get out of that DIY trap and this contradiction is by keeping it simple, so that then you know exactly who you need to bring on, what you need to be doing in order to be successful. Let's move forward here. So the other thing we talked about was this prevalent and paralyzing mindset, now more than ever, with all the noise coming at us and a lot of the fear that's being stirred up around the economy, if you will. Every day, there's some pundit that's changing, the opinion, and we get caught up in that. So I love to use this example, and it's taken me a while, but I finally found a graphic that really represented this well. But it's kind of like, if you're out in the cold, and some of you may have heard this story. It was told a long time ago by a fellow named Earl Nightingale on his program called Lead the Field. That was done back, I think, in the 70s. But Earl Nightingale tells this story about this person who's out in the cold and they're freezing. And they come across a wood stove and they say, I'm freezing, I'm cold, please give me my heat, give me some heat. And the wood stove says, sure, no problem, give me the wood and I'll give you some heat. And what's the person do? They turn around and say, no way, give me the heat first, and then I'll add the wood. Well, even though that seems like it's totally crazy, it's what we see. Jamie and I see this all the time in business. We see business people saying, yeah, I'll invest in my business after I'm profitable, after I start to make some money. So I want to talk a little bit, and I talked a little bit about this last month, but I just want to hit home on this, that the mindset where this comes from is when we think about ourselves as savers. And why do we always come back to, I've got to save money. I've got to buy the cheapest. I can't afford that right now. Well, where that mindset comes from is we're thinking about our work or our business as a job. Now, we might have come from a job. You may have come from a job that you've worked and then you've gone into business. But working for somebody else puts you into this trap of thinking about things as a job. So what's a job all about? Getting a consistent paycheck, saving as much money as you can so you can retire or you can spend it on things you want. Well, that's really the kiss of death for any business, because that attitude won't work. You need to be thinking about yourself as a business owner. Now, when you're an owner of a business, you think about investments. What am I investing in? Am I investing in tools and equipment that I can use to produce something faster, better, to get it out the door so that it can turn more profit, it can be sold for more? These are things that we're going to be investing in. Can I invest in the right people? Am I investing in the right marketing techniques and strategies that are going to bring me even more customers? So that kind of mindset is what we want to talk about and what we want to get into. So I'm going to jump now into the next level of part 2, and that was all review. But I'd like to just check in with everyone, and in particular, Jamie, check in with you and see if there's any comments, and get you to go ahead and chip in here any thoughts that you have.
Yeah, everyone go ahead and type into the chat if you have questions or comments, but I got a few comments along the way about like sound, and I don't know how to fix it, but a couple people complained about an echo, and a couple people couldn't hear. Now, can you please type in the chat if the sound is okay for you now, or if you're still having any problems. We are recording and I hear it just fine, so
you hear me fine. I can
Jamie
hear
says
you
perfect.
loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay, Kelsey says Mark is clear to me. Jamie just echoed briefly, but it corrected. All right, well, I'm going to look into why I'm echoing, and I'll just be quiet for now, but I think we're good. So anybody have any questions, please type in up to what we've reviewed so far. I'll just collect those responses for you, Mark.
Okay, great. And did you have anything to pitch in there, Jamie? Any thoughts or comments?
I love the review. I love the cartoon, and it speaks so much. I actually have a blog post on my website called Expense versus Investment, because I have the same in my business, and you've alluded to that. People think, well, that's a big expense to work with you. Well, yes, it is, but if you look at it as an investment in you saving the time, and of course what we do is actually help you make more money. So it really is an investment. You spend some money and you're going to get a return. No question about that. But yeah, it's an education process. And as a business owner myself, having to invest money in my own business, I can relate to where clients stay stuck in that. So yeah, we all kind of have that blind spot, but I'm glad that you're going to help us all kind of overcome that mindset.
Well, and it's one of those contradictory behaviors, because it's what we call an incongruency. So when you're incongruent means you're saying one thing. Now, everybody on this call is doing the same thing. You're all in business for yourselves. So you're all out there basically giving your clients or your customers something of value that they're looking for a return on their investment. Now, it could be a psychic return, a feel good. It could be pleasure that way. It could be a monetary return. But in the end, we're all looking for a return on our investment. So we're all in this same boat. But if you're incongruent, if you're saying one thing and you're wanting people to invest in you, but you're not investing in yourself, that's an incongruency. And your subconscious is going to continue to eat away at you and work at that and wonder why things aren't working. So excellent point, and thank you for bringing that up, Jamie. Yeah. So let's continue on to some more success behavior, which is kind of takes us into part 2. So we talked about, really the initial part was getting really clear on your goals and objectives. So understanding what you want is number 1. That's what most people aren't clear of. I hear it all the time, and I'm sure you do too, Jamie, and I'm sure everybody on this call has certain ones that certain thought processes that they immediately go, aha. So one of the things that we always hear is, I want more business. I want more money. Maybe I want more time off. But they haven't clearly defined what all those things mean. And sometimes those things are in contradiction to each other. So first, we need to get really clear on those specific things. And that is, what do we want? What's the clearest, fastest path we can do to get there? Then the next element that we need is focus and attention. And this is from personal experience, what I see over and over again is one of the greatest destructive behaviors is this, what we call the shiny object addiction. And it really is an addiction, because when you're bouncing around and you're buying new things and you're trying new things, you're really taking on an ADD type of behavior, and it becomes an addiction because it actually stimulates your brain and produces dopamine and endorphins, and you get excited about buying new things. It's just like the shopping addiction. And that's really being translated now into online as you shop around for fads and quick fixes, and somebody gives you a good spin on how you're going to make a fortune and become a millionaire. The quick fixes are a myth, if you will. And also this idea that there's some secret, there's a secret. If I just keep buying more things, if I keep looking under enough rocks, I'm going to find that magic button, where I just have to push the button. What's that one that the Business Depot does? The button, the red
yeah,
button.
the easy button.
The easy button. Everybody's shopping around. Everybody's selling you the easy button.
Yeah.
And that's why, a lot of people will come to a webinar like this and they'll leave because they don't like what I'm saying. They say, I don't want that. I don't want to work. I don't want to have to think. I don't want to run a business. I want the easy button. I want somebody to just show me where I have to push it, and then the money's going to flow in. That's just not reality, and we all know that intuitively. So one of the most destructive behaviors we can be on is the shiny object addiction. So what do you want to do instead of that? Well, you want to have a strategic focus. And that means that it's okay to be looking around for solutions. It's okay to be adding tools to your business. It's okay to be hiring people and getting things, that are going to work. But you don't want to just do that randomly. You don't want to do it because you're excited, or, somebody just has all the right things that they say to you that push your buttons and therefore you buy. Instead, what you want to do is slow that process down and say, wait a minute, anything that I'm looking at adding to my business, any tactic, any tool needs to fit my current strategy. It needs to go through that checklist. So go through the questions again. Will this new product or tactic or service get me what I want from my business? Will it help me get closer to that goal? Will it reduce the steps that I'm already taking? Will it make me more efficient and get me there, down to that minimum of what I need to be doing? And third, will it take me there faster, and will it make it easier for me to do my business? If you can't answer all of those questions positively, then what you're looking at is a shiny object that's going to do nothing but distract your business and kill your business in the end, because it has to fit that criteria, or you're going off on one of those roads from that roadmap before that's going to take you off in a tangent and a direction that's going to hurt you in the long run. Another behavior that you want to be aware of is this concept of multitasking. And really, that's another addiction, this bouncing around. The computer and the internet, to a large degree, have taught us this. So we need to be aware that we're getting these signals and we're getting this training that is pushing our brain to adopt these and to actually become addicted to these behaviors. So clicking around, surfing around, look at Facebook, when we're scrolling through the news feed, it's just this constant barrage of information that's actually turning us into this ADD addict. So the reality is that multitasking is actually a myth, and this has been proven. Anybody who's been reading up on this, it was a fad decades ago, but management circles, psychology circles have all proven that multitasking is actually a destructive behavior. And why? Because you really can't truly multitask. If you are, then you're leaving one thing and you're moving to the other, and then you're going back and forth and back and forth. And even computers can't multitask. Computers can only do one task at a time. They just have the ability to do it really, really fast. So we think that they're multitasking. And even nowadays, where you have multiple processors that are going on in a computer, you think, well, wait a minute, that's multitasking. It's not. Each processor is only able to do one thing at a time. So it's speed that masks itself as multitasking. Well, the reality as a human being, we only have one hard drive and one processor. So we can't do it. We can only focus on one thing at a time, and that's what we need to be doing. The other thing that comes out of this kind of addiction and behavior is that we think we can be a jack of all trades. So that kind of comes back to the DIY thing. So we think, well, if I'm going to be a really good business person, then I need to know everything and I need to do everything myself. And how many businesses are successful that way? Think of something simple, not that simple really, but like a restaurant that serves one thing. How successful is the restaurant where the cook also serves the tables, also is the bartender, also cleans the place, is the janitor, the accountant, the bookkeeper. They're not. It just doesn't happen. And if they are, they're just totally burnt out. The same thing can apply to your business as well. You can't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. You have to be a master of one thing. And that's where that focus comes in. So what's the alternative to this? What do you need to be doing? Think of your work sequentially. So control your attention and focus. This takes work, and it takes discipline, and it takes habits that you want to form over time. So you need to control it, and you need to do what Rich Schefren, by the way, is one of my mentors and somebody that I've learned a tremendous amount from, but he calls it mindful multitasking. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we already have this behavior where we tend to jump around a lot, and therefore we're multitasking, is what you want to do is take a project, whatever you're working on, and break it down into small pieces. And then if you're multitasking, instead of multitasking, what you do is you jump around from part to part, but all within the same project. Don't jump from project to project. That is the kiss of death, because then you lose energy, you lose momentum, and you don't keep it going. It's okay within an existing project, and you'll get better and better and be able to expand the time out. So you might find that because you're so into this behavior, you might only be able to spend 10 minutes of focused time and attention on one thing. That's okay. So focus that, and then take another part of the same project and focus on that for 10 minutes at a time. And then try and expand that time out. We're going to talk about more of these strategies and tactics, by the way, in the new year in terms of how to do this. But I want to give you these now so that you can do that. So keep it an inside job is what I mean by that. So keeping it inside the boundaries of that existing project. Stay focused, work on it until it's done. Jamie, does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you have multiple clients like you and I have, it's very, I tend to want to go and multitask. Well, let me do a little bit for this client. Let me do a little bit for that client. And I've also come to a place, getting busier and busier, is work on one client and then work on the next client. And, and that's how I get my day done. I segment my day with priority flags and all of that. So, yeah.
And I know you're brilliant at this because I've watched you in action, and this is where you have a strength that overcomes my weakness, because you're so much better at that than I am. And it's a pleasure to watch, and you've got this dialed in. But yeah, this, like, even, to take, like in your situation where you're working with a client, you work on that through, and then take a break. Give yourself, a little treat. Yeah. Stand up, move around, go get a coffee, and then move on to the next one. But this jumping around will burn you out really, really quickly. And I know you've discovered that, Jamie, the hard way, and have realized and come around to learn, that there's a much more effective way to being efficient, and being focused is the way to do that. Yeah. So the other behavior that I want to talk about that drains you and pulls away from your focus and attention is this addiction to saying yes. And what I mean by that is, so often in business, this is what I spend a lot of time working with clients on, is how do we get focused on a singular concept? How do we get focused on a singular service, a singular message, a singular, what we call avatar or client? And again, Jamie's very, very good at this, so that we can become really, really good in that one field, and we can be very, very productive. So many people jump around and they go, well, what's your, we've talked about this in a previous webinar. If you haven't seen it, look for the replay of the avatar one. But so many business people go, hey, if they got a pulse and a checkbook, I'll take them on as a client. And that's not an effective way to build a successful business, because every opportunity is not an opportunity. It's only an opportunity if it fits back. So again, you got to go back to those questions to say, does this keep me on track? Am I focused on my goal, or will this distract me? And this also comes back to that shiny object syndrome too, is saying yes to everything, buying things just because they look amazing and the person is telling you that you're going to make $1 million overnight. Maybe not. Take time to assess. So if you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to anyone. And you've heard me use this example many times, and because I think it's really appropriate and it hits home for me, is, when you walk into those restaurants and you pull out the encyclopedia of a menu and you ask the server, what's really good here? What are you best at? And they go, oh, everything. Well, you know that they're not good at anything, because there's just way too much on the menu, versus that fine dining restaurant doesn't have that huge encyclopedia of a menu. That fine dining restaurant typically has a one-pager, and the ones that are really good focus on just one thing. And we've all experienced those. Those are the masters. Those are the businesses that we look at and we elevate and we say they're incredible. And that's how you become a gourmet restaurant, by focusing on one thing. So the same thing in your business. Are you gourmet, or are you trying to please everyone? So the solution to this is learn to first stop, pause, and assess. Is this getting me, closer or farther away from my goals? And let's go back to the assessment process and the questions, and learning to say no if it's not. So stay focused on your uniqueness. Stay focused on your unique selling proposition or your unique value proposition that you offer. Stay totally focused on that, and don't let anything pull you. And then say yes to true opportunities that fit your assessment. If you're going through that assessment and you're saying, yeah, it'll help me get what I want from my business. It'll help me be streamlined and more efficient. It'll reduce the number of steps I have to take, and it'll get me there faster and in an easier way. Then it fits. Then go ahead and say yes to that. But taking that pause between the two is really, really important. So this is a critical element that I wanted to bring up for this particular training, that how important it is to develop that attitude of focus and attention.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, it comes back to this multitasking. It all fits together, the shiny objects, one product, one service, one project at a time. Get that focus and attention where it needs to be.
Yes.
Oh, my slides are doing something really weird here. Oh, my transitions are really, really wonky. Okay, folks, we're going to have to go. My transitions for some reason broke on me here. So this is a busy slide. I like to take it one step at a time, but we're going to have to do this together. So try not to read ahead. So let's look at how to make 2019 your best year ever. Number one, get clear. What do I really, really, really want from life? And then exactly what do I want from my business? What is the absolute minimum necessary I need to do to achieve that? And what is the fastest and easiest path to get that done? What behaviors do you need to change, or do you need to look at? Well, you need to decide. You need to take action and become a deciding machine, not indecisive. Decide, what is success for you? What do you want? Know enough what you need to do versus how to do it. And this is another, I want to talk a little bit about this for a minute. Many people get caught up in this idea of needing to know it all. And not only that, but needing to know how to do it all. It just doesn't work that way. Do you think the CEO of Ford knows how to build an engine? You think he knows how to paint a car? He might not even know how to change a tire. He doesn't need to know that stuff. All he needs to know is enough to do his job to run that corporation, run that business. So let go of this idea that you need to know how to do everything. You don't, but you do need to know what needs to be done. Because once you clearly identify what needs to be done, then you can find the people and the resources to get it done at the best possible way. Because if you try and do everything yourself and you learn all the how, chances are you're going to be, what's that expression that I just shared with you? The jack of all trades, but a master of none. You're going to know how to do everything poorly.
Yeah.
And that's not going to take you forward. You're going to be the restaurant that does everything from breakfast to dinner, and everything is frozen and it's all garbage. It's all done poorly because you've never mastered one particular skill. You've never become the chop shop that serves the best steak in town, or the vegetarian restaurant that is able to hone in and do, the perfect tofu dish. It's not going to happen unless you let go of that need to know everything and that need to know how to do everything. You don't need to know how to do everything. You just need to know who can do it for you. Make sense?
Yes.
And the other behavior is the KISS. Keep it simple, silly. Simple beats complex. And this is where, again, we come back. Why do we think, well, wait a minute, a really good restaurant is one that's really focused, and I know exactly what they're doing and what they're serving, and they do it really, really well. And therefore, I'm willing to pay them 3, 4, 5, 10 times as much as I would at a run-of-the-mill roadhouse that does everything. And yet when it comes to our own business, for some reason, we think that we have to complicate things, that we have to be all things to all people. It's that incongruency, isn't it, coming through? So don't be incongruent. Be congruent. Find out what you do best and stick with that. Everything else becomes noise. Everything else is just stuff that needs to be done to support what you do best.
And if I may just jump in here,
Yes.
somebody that people do outsource to, there's somebody who is talented in every aspect for your business. So and I think this is what Mark is getting at, obviously, but even for my own business. So I do social media marketing, but I've not really delved into Instagram too much, but guess what? I have someone on my team who knows Instagram like the back of their hand, and they can do that for myself and for clients. So everything is hireable. You don't have to know everything. Should I
Yeah.
know it? Maybe, but do I want to? Not really. I want to do what I already know and I'm really good at. So, and mine is the strategy, and I can hire people who can actually, move things along. So
Yeah, building that team of people
yeah,
that complement what you do best.
yes,
And the beauty of working and now that we have this thing called the virtual world is that time and space thing have collapsed. In the past, it was a lot more difficult. You might have had to pay and recruit somebody from right across the country
yeah,
in order to get that skill into your team. Now we can do it all digitally. So all of this talent, all of these skills are at your fingertips. And this is why you can build a tremendously successful business, right from a small office by virtually developing a team of people who complement you and bring your strengths to the surface.
yeah.
So the second point here is own it. So what do I mean by that? Well, stop thinking of what you do as a job and realize that you own your business and invest in it accordingly. You own it. Build the best, most beautiful business that you possibly can by investing appropriately in it. So the behavior that you need to change is you need to fire yourself. You need to stop thinking like an employee. Just let yourself go. Write the slip and dismiss yourself immediately. And then start thinking like an owner, start thinking like an investor. The last thing here I want to talk about, and we've just gone through and I'm recapping here, is develop focus and attention. So you want to develop a strategic focus. You want to then organize your work sequentially so that you're focusing on one task, one project, one person at a time, and then learn to assess, pause, and assess. Is this getting me closer or farther away? Will it get me closer or farther away? Will it make my work less, or will it make me do more? Will it make my work easier or harder? Will it get me there faster, or will it slow me down? Take that assessment and learn to say no to those things that don't affirm every one of those answers. Change your behavior. So overcome the shiny object addiction. One of the best ways you can do that is go through your email list and all of those things that are coming in, start unsubscribing. I mean, that's
I've
one of
been
the
doing
first things.
that.
Pardon me?
I've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do it all the time because there's information that I need to get in order to assess it.
Yeah.
And once I get it, I'm on somebody's list. And then immediately when I get that first, I do my assessment. Then when I get that first or second or third email from them, I unsubscribe because I've done my assessment. I realize it doesn't fit. I don't
Yeah.
need that distraction in my life.
Yeah.
So unsubscribe, focus on those people and those resources that are going to help you get clear on what you really, really want and stay clear on it. Learn mindful multitasking. Focus on one project, one person, one task at a time. And lastly, select those opportunities that fit, as I just said. So let's see where we are. Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up here, and we're going to get to a Q&A, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming in 2019. So I come back full circle here as to the way we started this whole session, this two-part program, which is I asked the question, are you insane? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's where you need to really have that reality check and that conversation with yourself is, are you continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results? Or are you truly adapting and changing? So, there's three types of entrepreneurs or business owners that are out there. And these are owners that are true entrepreneurs and investors. I'm not talking about people who've taken on a job. That's the worst job in the world, by the way, as Michael Gerber says. So when you take on your business as a job, it's a terrible thing. But when you become an owner, Rich Sheffrin calls it a founder, the business founder, then you have that different mindset. And really, there's three kinds of people that are going to come and look at information. The first type is the people that are going to assess. They're going to take notes. They're going to suspend judgment. They're going to figure out whether it fits for them. And then they're going to maybe go back and review, watch replays, and they're going to create an action plan in order to keep their business moving forward. The second type is going to say, I love all this information. It's great, but I'm so busy right now. Once I get all these other things out of the way, then I'll get around to it, which they never do. And that's a problem with focus and attention. So that's the second type of entrepreneur. And then the third type of entrepreneur is the person who is insane. And that's the entrepreneur who says, none of this applies to me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And if I keep working harder, longer hours and doing the same thing over and over again, eventually I'll break through and things will change. So I want you to be in that first group, to be that person that's thinking about constant change and how you can improve and how you can be more dynamic in the way that you build your business. So now it's your turn. Your turn is to learn exactly, what do I want for my business? Take time. This is a perfect time of year to be doing this. If you don't have a journal, buy yourself one and start to answer these questions and make notes to yourself and really refine it. What is the absolute minimum necessary I need to do? And what is the absolute minimum your business needs to do in order to help you get what you want? So in that light, I'm going to give you a little bit of a cheat sheet here, because these are standard parts of any business. You're going to need a marketing and acquisition system, a conversion and fulfillment system, a customer service and support system, a follow-up and retention system, and a referral system. Now, the beauty of this is, again, coming back to computers in the virtual world, a lot of this can be automated. So it doesn't mean, you have to go out and hire 5 different people to do this. You can actually hire people to build a system for you and it'll run on its own. You can hire people to maintain a system, or you can hire people to do this for you and send you what that particular system produces that'll help you get what you want out of your business. So learn about these systems, learn about these structures, because this is critical for growing your business. And again, it's a business. So, a lot of people go into business and then they treat it like a job. And the way they treat it like a job is they expect to not spend any money and just to get a constant paycheck. Well, sorry, folks, go and get a job. If that's what you want, and you don't want to take any risks, and you don't want to do the mental work and the physical work that takes from building a plan and creating a business and investing in people and team and tools and processes that are going to help you grow a phenomenal thing, an organism that's bigger and better than you, then you may as well go get a job. But if you want to do it, treat it like a business. By the way, you've heard me mention before, if you haven't bought the book, I would encourage you. It's an old book. It's been around forever, called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Go ahead and grab it. If you have a used bookstore in your town, go there first, because chances are they'll have it. It's been around, and millions of copies sold around the world. 3, what is the fastest and easiest path to get that done? So look at your work, look at your workflow and say, what am I doing now? Compare it. How does this compare to my perfect model? In number 2, you've created the perfect model. Compare it to what you're doing now. Are you insane? Are you doing the same things over and over and expecting different results? Or are you going to continue to do that? Or are you going to change? Are you going to use that model and start to implement it in your business? What is my plan to bring what I'm doing now into alignment with what needs to be done? What I've identified in step 4. Quit your job. Refuse to stay small by saving, by thinking of yourself as a person who's getting a paycheck and needs to save every little bit. And instead, choose to grow by investing. That's the only way things grow, is by investing. And let's see if my things work here. They do. This time it worked. Develop focus and attention. Strategic focus. Work sequentially. Say no to distraction. Yes to opportunities that pass the test. And you've got the test right in front of you. You know what that is. So, Jamie, I just wanted to touch on a few things that, that we've been discussing, and that, we'll brainstorm some more for coming up in 2019. But I'd actually like to do a part 3. It occurred to me last night that I think it would be good to do a part 3 of this in January, and that is kind of pulling it together into action steps. Great. So that, we take January as that launch of everything that you've done, that journaling, that meditating, that planning, that work that you've done over the holidays. Let's take that and pull that all together and have a really good brainstorming session, and have a webinar on taking action and how to bring all that into fruition and how to start to build that. And then, of course, we're going to give you new strategies in 2019 to help you stay clear and committed to your goals, not other people's goals. And we're also going to review and refine some of those timeless strategies that work, because repetition is important. That kind of comes back to the shiny object thing. It's important to realize that once you've got something that works, you want to keep doing it. And you want to apply the principle of Kaizen and maybe improve upon it, tweak upon it. But there's a lot of things that we know that work that we want to keep coming back to and reviewing over and over again. So those are some of the things that I personally want to give to you in 2019 and make sure that we focus on. Jamie, thoughts, recap? We're coming up to our end here, and then a Q&A if we have any questions.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to comment on the shiny object syndrome because you really helped me to kind of pull myself out of that recently. I had a client that asked me about messenger bots, on Facebook. And I was like, well, I've heard of a couple of companies. So I did a little research and I started to delve in. And I thought, well, you know what? We could use these for our webinars and we can, really like leverage all of this. And I got like 2 or 3 hours into it on a weekend. And I was like, what am I doing? And I sent it to you and I was like, what do you think of this? Should I learn this? Do you have somebody on your team who can maybe do this for us? And you were like, no, you're not, you're doing something like, we don't need that. Like, it's just not, it's a shiny object. And I really found myself going down that rabbit hole.
Mhm.
Because I love to learn new systems and new softwares, and anything that's going to enhance my business will help clients. But you really do have to stop and think, where is this going to get me? How much time do I have to invest in this? Maybe, and I even said to you, maybe I could hire somebody to do this for us. Could it be good? Sure. Is it really necessary though? Really not. Maybe even Facebook isn't really where we need to be anyway. I believe in LinkedIn more so. But so that was a in my face, like, yeah, I know better.
Yes. And
So
I think I'm going to invent a new phrase, and the phrase paralysis by analysis. So we can overanalyze things.
I have a blog post called that. Yes, go ahead.
But I think there's a new thing out there, and now my brain's going to go numb on me here. But oh, what was I going to say? It just came and went.
Analysis by paralysis on things that we're trying to think that we need for our business, and maybe we don't.
And now paralysis by perfection. And I think that's where we often get caught up. And that's where number 2 comes in, is we need to, instead of focusing on perfection, we need to focus on, done is done.
Yeah.
And, what's that expression about getting things done? Something, getting something done is a lot better than, obviously, I can't remember the expression right now. My brain's not functioning properly, but it is better than being stuck with something that's not done because you're just waiting for it to be perfect, or you're constantly tweaking. You just need to get it done. And enough, good enough is good enough.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
I want to share with you 2 things that Sandy is typing in the chat here. He says, I have a poster at my desk with a stop sign. Under the sign, it says, is this the best thing I could be doing right now to reach my goals? If not, what is? That's the first one. And then he commented and he said that perfection is the enemy of effectiveness.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. I knew it was out there and I knew somebody would have it. Yeah, and it's true. So, we get caught in this and we see this shiny object and we think, oh, then it'll be even better. But the problem with better is, then we're constantly stuck in this loop where we're going for, better and better and better and better. And that, that model, many people are aware of that model where there's the more. First, we want more of whatever it is. Then we want to improve upon it. We want it better. And then the next thing we want to jump and we want it different.
Yeah.
And then once we have that different thing, then we go through the same process again. And we get stuck in this loop and in this cycle. And you know what? If it's working and it gets you to your goal, that's what's important. So, stopping there and pausing there and not getting caught up in that shiny object syndrome, getting really focused, learning how to say no and throw things out and get rid of those distractions. So thank you. Thank you, Sandy.
Yes,
and thank you so much, Jamie.
Yeah.
So this kind of wraps up for 2019. These are the success strategies that we're going to be bringing and working and refining for 2019 for the group. I'm excited about that. And I just want to say thank you. We're coming up on our time now. We always like to leave a little bit of time when we don't get too off on a tangent, right, Jamie? I think we nailed it today. But thanks for being part of our program. Remember, no one is an island. Reach out. We're here to help. And I'm amazed when we put out these offers and and you'll see them pop up on your screen here in a minute. But when you have the opportunity, I'm amazed at how few people do, how many people decide to stay, as a silo and an island unto themselves. You don't have to do that. That's what this group is all about.
Yeah. And also, Mark, if you can just kind of touch on, I know you did this in the last webinar too, but this is an important point. And I wrote this down, when you're talking about investing in your business and all of that. So, we tend to stay stuck in the DIY thing.
Yes.
Right. And I have a DIY program. I offer it to people, at a lower price point than it would take to, have us do it for you. So I want that to always be an option for people, get my knowledge, get all of that. But most of the people who sign up for my DIY program end up in my done for you program.
Mhm.
So I think, that's a good trap. It's one of the bad trap, I should say, a trap, just a trap.
Yeah.
DIY, let me do it all myself. And if like Mark always says, if you want to be a marketer, be a marketer. There's lots of room for you. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, decide what it is, and definitely, and Jamie, you're right. Sometimes we need to offer those, those options to people. We need to offer the DIY so that they can learn on their own and say, well, wait a minute, I'm spending 80% of my time doing all this stuff and only 20% of the time on what I love, what I'm
yeah,
good at, and what generates money for me.
yeah,
What gets, in other words, what gets me closer to my goal. And so you've got to really pause and say, why am I spending this time? I know Sandy, who I think it's the same Sandy on the call. He and I had the same conversation. He was like, why am I wasting time on this? He was telling me a story about being so frustrated with a Facebook thing that he couldn't figure out. And the light bulb went off that why the heck am I, wasting all this time? I could be spending time with clients
yeah,
instead. And it's easy to get caught up in that trap of thinking that we need to know it all and do it all. And yeah, sometimes we need to venture out, but again, come back to the assessment. And as Sandy put it too, as he just mentioned there too, that nice note that he has on his computer: is this getting me closer to my goal? Is it getting me there?
yeah,
And that's what you got to ask. If you're doing those things and you're becoming an expert, then why, somebody that wants to win the race with a racing car, finds himself learning how to be a mechanic, maybe they stop and go, is this really going to get me the fastest and quickest way? Or maybe I should just hire the best mechanic out there and get my car
that's
tuned up and ready to go.
and even for my business, just kind of going back and through my own experience, I like to share, what I've been through in my own business. Cause as I mentioned, it was difficult to invest and when you're struggling a little bit in the beginning. But now I have a team, I have a whole team, a full team. And, if it was just me doing everything, I wouldn't have time for more clients.
Yeah.
So I have a full team and it is the best investment that I make in my business every single month when I pay them. I am grateful to make that payment every single month to all of my team members because it's like, phew,
Yeah.
okay, I can take on more clients. And if I get even more clients, then I'll just hire more people. And, that is the best investment you can make in your business is to get some support,
Yeah.
get some help. Yeah.
And to me, we're human beings. We're relationship is what we're all about. So it also, if you try and do it all yourself, it can bring you down. It can get lonely.
Yeah.
And when you're working with a team and you're all growing together, that's when things get exciting and fun. And you're
Yeah.
learning from each other and you're bouncing off of each other and growth is happening. And
Yeah.
we can't grow when we're by ourselves. We have to be exposed to, and that's why, like I hire and have people on my team. That's why I have a coach. I mean, I have a coach as well.
Mhm.
Is my mind can only see so many things, and I have lots of blind spots that I need my coach to help me identify. And when I identify them on my own, I need a coach to help me coach me through those things and to come up with bigger, better, brighter ideas. It's exciting. I can't
Yeah.
wait every week to talk to my coach because that helps me, grow as an individual and as a business person. So,
Me too.
um, one more thing I just want to comment on here, and that is please, please, please give us feedback. That's another way that we grow and that we become more together than just one. So when this webinar is over, you'll have the opportunity to see a feedback page there. Please give us feedback. What you thought of the webinar, what you'd like to see more of. There's some great questions in there to help us develop more content. And if you don't have time to do that right away, you're going to get that in an email as well. So that's the follow-up
Yeah.
to it. So we're going to remind you that
Yeah.
we really, really, really want your feedback,
Yeah.
and that's the way we collaborate and work together on this. Um, we're coming up on the hour. Are there any other questions or thoughts or comments that anybody from the group has?
I don't have any right now. We'll just mention I'm showing the offer for, I think many of the people that are here already are members of our program. So we don't need to, get into a lengthy discussion about that. But anybody who's watching the replay, if you're not currently a member of Upscale Success Strategies, You really should be. You'd be foolish not to. There's so much great content. We've done lots of great webinars, and we hate for you to miss out on any of the previous webinars that we've done. So do take advantage. Click on that link. We have one other offer, Mark. So let me go ahead and throw that up real quick as we.
Sorry, I might have messed up your screen there for a minute.
That's okay.
I stopped sharing, so hopefully that looks better.
I'm still seeing your share there. I don't know if it's frozen or what.
Oh, let me try.
But I'll just read this, and if you can, I don't know if everybody can see it, but we're offering a complimentary strategy session. I forgot to change this. It's either with Mark or myself or both of us. We can jump on a call with you and lay out the entire structure of getting you and your business where you've always dreamed it could be. One-on-one high-level consulting and coaching session designed uniquely for you and your business. And then, we'll give you notes and a recording of the interview for free. So just wanted to put that out there as well. So sign up now. You can just click on the link. I hope it's showing up for you. And I think
showing up on the sidebar there. So
okay, perfect, great.
And I don't know what's going on, and why I'm messing up your screen share here, but and also I wanted to add to that, Jamie, too, that if you want that free consult that time, we'll spend up to an hour with you. That's about what we feel is a productive amount of time going over some of these things. So if you're needing help getting clarity, on what you want and how to get to where you want to go, how you design a business, then, we can focus right in on that as well. Yeah. So we've done that with many people too, and I'm happy to do that. I know Jamie's happy to do that, and sometimes we do that collaboratively as well. So know that's also an offer too for you if you want to take advantage of that.
Yep. And honestly, you should speak to both of us at some point. I mean, we both do very complementary things. We don't do the same thing, so there's no overlap. But what we do is very complementary for your business. So, okay. Is there anything? Let me just see if there's anybody in the chat that's written. I think we're good. Everybody good? Want to put I see one smiley face. Thank you, Sandy. Okay, great. No questions. Great presentation from Sandy. So thank you. Kelsey says thank you also. And I see a bunch of thank you. So thank you, everybody, for being here and staying with us.
Thanks so much. And happy holidays to everyone, however you celebrate the holiday. If it's Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Shalom, and all the other bundle of joys that people bring in the way that they celebrate the holiday season. It's a great time of year. And I wish you and your family all the best. And I'm really looking forward to all of us going to new levels, exciting new levels in 2019. So may 2019 bring all of us health and prosperity and abundance and happiness. So best wishes to everyone.
Yes. Ditto that. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye, Mark.
Okay. Bye.